Look at this guy. Look at these guys.
We're working.
Yeah? This, you know, people are going to give you a lot of trouble for being on this couch like that.
Oh, you know.
Just saying.
Yeah, we already know what they're thinking.
Stop thinking, first of all. This is a family channel.
I don't think.
Ernesto doesn't think.
No.
That's good. Yeah. So, Ernesto brought by this bad boy. And we're setting it up because, you know what? What's better than having an RC drag car? Having two RC drag cars so we can race.
And the right mechanic for it.
And the right mechanic. So he bought this. This is the Losi drag car. I think it's what, the 22S they call it, something like that. And it's basically the same thing. It's the competition for like the Traxxas Drag Slash or some of the other ones, the DR10 from Associated. But I noticed something when he brought it over. The thing had ridiculously stiff suspension. It was not, there was no movement at all in the suspension. It had limiters in both directions, up and down. It was just, the amount of movement in the suspension was just non-existent. So what we did was we took the suspension apart, we took the shocks apart, removed the limiters. They were just little plastic little pieces that were inside the shock. You can see that's how much limiting was inside the shock. And now, instead of the front end staying rigid when you lift the front end and the back end not moving at all, the whole thing's got a little bit of motion to it. So you can see we can come down and then it comes up as well. So that's going to be kind of like a real car. And then in the back, when you hit the wheelie bar, instead of it doing a wheelie, as soon as I push this down, the suspension moves. So now we've got some movement in the back as well. So that's going to help out a lot with launching. It's gonna make it hook a lot better on crappy road, and it'll just be a better experience all around. And then you can tighten it up as needed for more traction once you start gaining more traction. So unfortunately, he didn't bring a battery, and I didn't know that this had the Spectrum connector, which you can see in there. So I can't use my batteries either. Otherwise, we were gonna do some racing. So I have to wait for that one. You'll have to go over to his channel and check it out. He'll race in the next video, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna be racing.
So if you haven't seen his channel, go check it out. It's Callous World. I'm gonna put it right here. You need to like, comment,
and subscribe.
That's right. You got it. And I'm gonna actually go take mine out in a little bit and go make some passes because I did some changes as well. I stiffened their back suspension a little bit so that we can see if we can maintain traction. As you guys saw in the last video, I'm not getting traction. I guess that's the best way to put it. I have the launch set at like 40%, 5 stages to 100, and each one is taking about 3/10 roughly. So, and when I start to get into the top end, it starts breaking loose even then. So I've got to do a lot more work with the chassis to see if I can get some more traction. I'm also going to consider trying to sauce the tires. We'll see. I'm still on a dry tire, but I think that's probably going to be the next step because I do want to see that low bottom two. And I know you guys do too. So stay tuned. We're going to get her out there and see what she can do. .26 at 57. It's like evening out on the top. God damn it. I'm supposed to really fuck this up. I needed 10 seconds. Well, she took off. It was straight until the very end, and the body lifted off. So I think we're reaching the limits of this body, if anything. Hopefully we didn't break too much. Let's see. The wing came off. See that? 255.58. So, oh man, a little carnage going on there. Well, as you guys saw, we're still having some aerodynamic issues, and it's all at the top side of the track. So that's gonna significantly hinder our ability to track. And I didn't want to do it, but I had to. I cut the back out. So hopefully that lets out enough air now to keep us on the ground. We'll see. She's not going to survive too many of those airlifts. As soon as she goes airborne, man, it's a crapshoot whether or not it's going to break everything. I've already broken some knuckles. You see me bend shocks. I mean, this is tough. When you start getting to this speed, it's tough to keep these things in one piece. So my biggest goal is to make it consistent so that I can continue to make these passes without causing catastrophic damage. Every time you wreck, I got to take it all apart, just redo the entire suspension and make sure it's all straight and set up the way that I had it before. So it's a big job. So it reminds me a lot of when I was doing top speed passes with RC cars. I was having the same issues. I would crash and the whole thing would just be out of alignment. Every single part, the front end, the back end, and we're getting into that same thing. Every time this thing goes airborne and lands hard on its side or something hits something, I either break something or part of the alignment gets all completely messed up. So knock on wood, this will help. And if not, I've got another body that I'm gonna wanna use, something a little more aerodynamic. But I really like this old school look. I hoped that it would be good. It does make straight passes, but I'm starting to think that at the back end of the track, it is lifting up and losing traction and just kind of floating through the track, which is really hard to imagine, but it's showing up on the GNSS. You can see it kind of topping out on speed, and I can hear it still like accelerating, like it's still going. So I know it's not. So I'm guessing that I'm losing traction. I'm literally flying across the line. And you can see it a couple times now. The car has gone airborne at that 60 mile an hour speed and just gone where it wanted to go. So let's see how this does. I'm gonna give this a try, and if this doesn't work, again, I got another body coming that I'm gonna try out. So the other thing too, I noticed that the battery that I'm using is taking a hit. Now we have made probably, I wanna say about 35, 40 passes maybe on it. But this Gens Ace red line is puffing. You can see it starting to get a little bit of round to it. It's not dead yet, but it is getting there, and I'm noticing it every run. So I think we're gonna have to come up with something better for power. So any battery guys out there, if you wanna help me out, let me know what you got, because I need something stronger.